Abhisara The Tryst. That's the poem we are going to discuss today. This is written by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. And this is the first poem as far as Rhapsody book is concerned for ISC class 11 students. Now, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, you would know, was the first non-European to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1913 for his collection of poems called Gitanjali. Okay, and this particular poem, Abhisara, celebrates the beauty of nature and the power of pure love. The power of pure love and the beauty of nature. Please remember these phrases because you could use them in your answers. Okay, so that is something important. Now, Upagupta and Vasavdatta. These are the two characters as far as this particular poem Abhisara is concerned. Upagupta and Vasavdatta, spellings ka dhyan zarur rakhiye. Okay, now Upagupta was a disciple of Lord Buddha. Okay, so that was his character and he is the symbol, and please remember these three words, I've written it down in the notes, of selflessness, that is doing things for others and not for oneself, knowledge, and righteousness, as in doing the right thing. Vasavdatta was a dancing girl. In fact, I remember reading Amar Chitra Kathas of Vasavdatta, and there are many stories about their encounters. The two meetings, rendezvous that Rabindranath Tagore has spoken about are a little different. But nevertheless, these are the ones which you need to deal with. But if you're interested, you can always pick up a book on Vasavdatta. There are many available on the net and you can go through it also. So Vasavdatta was known to be pretty proud of her elegance and fortune. That aspect does not really come out in this poem, but that is essentially known to be one of the characteristics of Vasavdatta. Now, the next question is, where is this poem based in? The poem is based in Mathura, which is a town in Uttar Pradesh, pretty close to Delhi. Mathura is known for its oil refinery, as the also associated with Lord Krishna. And this particular poem essentially talks of two events. First in the month of August and then the following year in the month of April. Okay, so a gap of about 8 months between the two events when Upagupta and Vasavdatta meet. Okay, please remember all these little pointers that I'm telling you because that helps you kind of place the poem in a particular context. So once the poem itself is not a complex poem, but you need to understand the context of the poem, the themes of the poem, which is what I am focusing on. Now, what happens? Jaldi se story suna deta hu. On a night in August is when Upagupta is sleeping somewhere in Mathura and Vasavdatta is walking, and that's when she meets him. Okay, and she's enchanted by his kind of looks, by his very serene and good looks, and she says that this is not the place for you to lie down. Please come to my home. He says, no, I won't. And he says that he will come to her when the time is ripe, as in when the time is right. Cut to April the following year, right? The city of Mathura is celebrating the festival of flowers, and Upagupta and most of them have gone to the forest to celebrate that festival. Upagupta finds someone who is lying outside the town, on the outskirts of the town, right, in the shadow of a mango grove. And he finds that that is Vasavdatta, and she has been thrown outside the town because she is suffering from smallpox, which is a contagious disease. It could spread to other people. So they have thrown her out of the town, and Upagupta at that point in time, he shows compassion and he tends to her and says that the time has come for me to meet you, okay, to visit you. So the poem essentially illustrates kindness, empathy, and true love, that when she needs him is when Upagupta says that I have come now to visit you because the time is ripe, because you need someone to look after you. Everyone else has discarded you, but I am here to help you. I am here to look after you. That is the reflection of true love. Okay. एक joke याद आया that in you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Bengaluru as a city, and there will be some students from Bengaluru out here. Bengaluru airport is very far out from the city, and the traffic of Bengaluru is notorious, right? So people say that in Bengaluru, someone X does not say I love you to Y. If you want to show true love to somebody in Bengaluru, you actually go to receive them at the airport. That is like the ultimate reflection of true love as far as Bengaloreans are concerned. Just a joke. No offense. Okay, now Abhisara in Sanskrit means meeting. Okay, tryst means an appointment of sorts. Okay, Abhisara the Tryst. Tryst with Destiny, Jawaharlal Nehru's speech on the midnight of August 15, 1947, delivered in Parliament. So, Tryst with Destiny, appointment with destiny. Here also, meeting, and you're talking about a tryst, an appointment. Okay, and he has made an appointment that I will come to you when the time is right. I hope you're understanding the context. Now, the themes of the poem I've written, and I explained basically what I've spoken about so far: love and longing for each other, right? Then the whole theme of spirituality, right? That is the woman's journey. You know, at one time she was much sought after, and one time she's completely discarded, right? So when she finally unites with Upagupta, it symbolizes the union of an individual and with the cosmic consciousness, in the sense that, you know, it is also something very spiritual. Okay, that is there, and the elements of nature which are there in the second half of the poem, and of course the theme of compassion. Let's now get started with the poem. Upagupta, the disciple of Buddha. It's not written like a typical poetry with very heavy words, so you would find it pretty simple to understand. Lay asleep on the dust by the city wall of Mathura. By means along the wall, by the city wall of Mathura. This is pretty much almost like prose. You would find it very easy to understand. Lamps were all out, doors were all shut. That is, there were no lamps, so it was all dark. The doors were all shut because it was night time, and stars were all hidden by the murky sky of August. Now, the murky means dark and a very gloomy kind of an atmosphere. The stars were hidden means there was some kind of a cloud cover, as a result of which no stars were visible. The doors were shut indicates a sense of quiet. Okay, that's the atmosphere on this August night, or this night in August. Whose feet were those tinkling with anklets, touching his breast of a sudden? Now, suddenly at that point in time, Upagupta is awakened, because when the feet of a woman who is wearing these kind of anklets, you know, baliyan jo bolte hain, okay, and that woman was Vasavdatta. That woman was Vasavdatta, a dancer who was wearing those anklets, which made a tinkling kind of a sound. He woke up startled. Startled means there is a sense of, he's surprised. He's kind of surprised, as a result of which, achanak se, he kind of gets up. Okay. And he woke up startled means he was in deep sleep. Only when you're in deep sleep and someone comes and disturbs you, you are kind of startled. Are kya ho gaya kind of thing, because you're in deep sleep. Deep sleep, who are the kind of people who sleep in deep sleep? People who are at peace with themselves. If you are a very troubled sort, if you're having a lot of worries, if you're having a lot of anxieties, a lot of tension, your sleep is likely to be disturbed. You're likely to see very disturbed dreams, or you would keep waking up, right? So if you're sleeping very peacefully, it means you are a man of peace. You have no worries or anxieties in the world, right? And the light from a woman's lap struck his forgiving eyes. Now, woman's lap, so she's holding a lamp, and that sweat, it kind of struck his forgiving eyes. Forgiving eyes also kind of conveys that, he did not kind of feel angry with her that she had woken him up, right? So that is again something which shows his compassionate and kind hearted nature, right? Now, Vasavdatta, it was the dancing girl, starred with jewels, clouded with a pale blue mantle, drunk with the wine of her youth. Now, there are a few important words out here, right? Mantle is a loose sleeveless garment worn over the clothes by women. Okay, so that is the meaning of the word mantle out here, right? She was wearing a lot of jewelry. Okay, so you can imagine a dancing girl who was wearing this kind of a mantle, who was adorned with a lot of jewelry, clouded with a pale blue mantle, drunk with the wine of her youth. Drunk with the wine of her youth, one, conveys her youthful beauty and also lively demeanor. There is something very beautiful and very artistic about her. Drunk kind of conveys a sense of pride. you are, like they say, he was drunk on power of his father. The chief minister's son was drunk on the power of his father. That, father is chief minister, so I can do anything and I can kill people on the pavement, that kind of a drunk. I mean, drunk does not necessarily mean actual intoxication, but intoxicated by the power that you feel that, mera koi kuch nahi bigaad sakta. Here she is drunk with the wine of her youth. That is, she felt good, and in a sense of pride, that she was indeed very young and very lively and beautiful. Okay, so that is something, that's how you need to interpret this. She lowered her lamp and saw the young face austerely beautiful. Now she lowered her lamp to see Upagupta, and she saw this young man's face, who was very handsome, austerely beautiful. Austere also means someone who is serious in the way he looks, simple and serious in the way he looks. Austerely beautiful. And then they speak, forgive me, young ascetic. Now, ascetic is someone who is a saint kind of a person, a sadhu kind of person. So she apologizes to him. And ascetic is also someone who abstains from any kind of indulgence, who has kind of, moh maya sab chhod diya hai. He is kind of leading a very saintly kind of life, practices self-discipline, and usually it's associated with a particular religion, in this case, the Buddhist religion. So forgive me. So she's kind of asked for apology. Young ascetic, said the woman, graciously come to my house. The dusty earth is not a fit bed for you. That this dusty place is not where you should ideally sleep. Upagupta declines her invitation. Woman, go on your way. When the time is ripe, I will come to you. Says that you go. Now, go on your way can be interpreted like you go on your way. That is, you go to your home. Go on your way can also be interpreted like you continue doing what you are doing. I will come to you when the time is ripe, right? So it can be interpreted both literally, that is saying that, you proceed where you are going right now, or in the metaphorical sense, you continue doing what you are doing. I will come to you only when the time is ripe. Okay, when the time is ripe, when the time is right, I will definitely come to you. Suddenly the black knight showed its teeth in a flash of lightning. Okay, now showed its teeth, it's almost personification. The black knight showed its teeth means lightning. When there is, इस तरह से जब बादल गरजते हैं, it's almost like, someone is kind of flashing his teeth. So in a flash of lightning. So there is the element what I told you about, the theme of nature, both in terms of the trees and the flowers in the later half of the poem and in the first half of the poem, like this. The storm growled, another way of personification. Growled is used for wolves or dogs, right? But here it's been used for the storm, the kind of, the acoustic effect. Growled from the corner of the sky, and the woman trembled in fear, right? So she sees the lightning, she hears the sound, and she trembled in fear. So you have the personification poetic devices which have been used. And the branches of the wayside trees were aching. Oh, there are two lines which are missing. There are two lines which have gone missing in this, strangely. Let me just look at the book, so that in any case you have the book, right? So you will know what I am talking about. One minute, huh? 1 minute, let me just. The next line is, a year had not passed. It was the evening of a day in April in the spring. Okay, those are the two lines which are missing in this particular version very strangely. The branches of the wayside trees were aching with blossom. Gay notes of the flute came floating in the warm spring air from afar. Afar means from far off. So now the poem has made a transition to 8 months later, to the month of April, when it is spring season, right? And what happens in spring season? You find a variety of flowers on the trees. So the branches of the trees are filled with flowers, conveying the beauty of the spring season. And what does spring convey? Spring conveys freshness, spring conveys beauty, spring conveys new life, it conveys renewal of life and energy, a freshness. Okay, so from a distance, the cheerful and gay tunes, lovely tunes from a flute could be heard. So in MCQs, you could get questions like this: which is the instrument which has been mentioned in this particular poem? The citizens had gone to the woods to the festival of flowers. From the mid-sky gazed the full moon on the shadows of the silent town. So the citizens, there was the festival of flowers which was being celebrated. So all of them had gone to the forest. To the woods means to the forest area outside Mathura. From the mid-sky gazed the full moon on the shadows of the silent town. So from the mid-sky gaze the full moon. So this time, earlier the moon could not be seen because it was a dark sky, no stars could be seen. But this time the full moon is seen. The full moon is seen this time on the shadows of the silent town. So on the shadows of the silent town, you have the reflection of the full moon. The young ascetic was walking in the lonely street. Earlier it was Vasavdatta who was walking and Upagupta was sleeping. This time Vasavdatta is sleeping while the ascetic Upagupta is walking and he walks towards her. So the young ascetic, so you see the difference and note the difference. The young ascetic was walking in the lonely street. Why is it lonely? Because everyone in the town has gone to the woods for the festival of flowers. While overhead, the love-sick koels urged from the mango branches their sleepless plaint. Plaint means complaint. So the koels are singing. Koel is always a bird which is associated with singing, with sweet voice. Okay, so it is, and it is love sick. It is kind of talking and singing of love. So the koel, which is a member of the cuckoo family, known for its singing, and it is singing of love. Okay, they were singing their love sick songs, which indicates unfulfilled desire, pretty much similar to Vasavdatta and Upagupta, and the longing for the beloved, which is precisely what Vasavdatta did. Not so apparent in this particular poem, but in the larger stories of Vasavdatta and Upagupta, that is pretty much a theme of longing for the beloved, that Vasavdatta falls in love with Upagupta the moment she sees him. So Upagupta walked out of the city and stopped at the base of the walls of the city, passed through the city gates and stood at the base of the rampart. Rampart, wo bolte hain na, rampart of the Red Fort. The walls of the fort, so the bottom area, that's what is known. I mean, the area next to the walls is known as the ramparts of the fort. So it stood at the rampart. What woman lay in the shadow of the wall at his feet, struck with the black pestilence, her body spotted with sores, hurriedly driven away from the town? So he's kind of questioning, who is this woman who has been driven away, who is kind of lying at near the shadow of the wall and struck with, she's suffering from smallpox. Pestilence is a fatal epidemic disease. Okay, so her body has these kind of sores of smallpox, and she had been driven away from the town to prevent the spread of the disease, hurriedly driven away from the town. The ascetic sat by her side, taking her head on his knees. So he took Vasavdatta's head on his lap. Okay, and moistened her lips with water, gave her water to drink in order to wet her lips, smeared her body with balm. Balm could be a sandalwood paste because that's what is normally used. So he did that to kind of ensure that, you know, it would help her in some way or the other as a medication. And at that point in time, Vasavdatta, who is so weak that this time she has not recognized this man. Who are you, merciful one? Asked the woman. Merciful means someone who is showing mercy, as opposed to the people of the town who had turned her out. The time at last has come to visit you, and I am here, replied the young ascetic. That I had said that I will visit you when the time is ripe, and the time has come now, because at this point in time is when you actually need me, and I am here to be of some kind of help to you. So that's what Upagupta replies. Now, I've already mentioned some of the poetic devices like personification, the alliteration, gay notes of a flute came floating, FF. Then the young ascetic is repeated many times, so there is a thing of repetition. Then there is also the element of foreshadowing which has been used, in the sense that, when the time is ripe, I will come for you, which means that the moment he says it the first time, that in this poem there will come a time when it actually comes true, when he comes for her when the time is ripe. So there is a element of foreshadowing, and that's one of the literary devices which has been used by Rabindranath Tagore. Then symbolism, the mango tree, which kind of symbolizes love. Koel as a bird singing from the mango tree about unfulfilled love, again as a symbolism of the love between Upagupta and Vasavadatta, more from Vasavadatta's side for Upagupta. Then, of course, a lot of imagery has been used. Austerely beautiful, starred with jewels, clouded with a pale blue mantle. All of them kind of help you form an image of Vasavadatta in your mind. Similarly, that of Upagupta, but much more of Vasavadatta. It kind of helps you form what kind of a person she would have been. Along with this, I would be giving you the logical reasoning questions, the long answers and questions, 5 marks and 10 marks, also the MCQs. Okay, so once all these elements are there, that should help you with your preparation for the examination as far as Abhisara is concerned. It's a simple poem, but the themes is what you should be aware of, and all the kind of words, the specific words that you should use. So once you go through my question and answers and notes, you would find it pretty easy to do that. Okay, tata, bye bye. Thank you very much.